Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life.
Hi, everybody. It's Beth with the Foundation for Family and Community Healing. I'm glad you're all here. The Foundation is a small nonprofit, and we're really dedicated to helping individuals and organizations build strength and resilience through skill-based education and leadership development. We have a really fun guest today, a little something different for listeners. We have Cathy Baillargeon, who is the founder of Virtual Cathy. And I'm going to let her tell you all about that in just a second. How are you doing today, Cathy?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm great. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Springtown, Texas. Just recently moved here from Washington State.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a weather change.
Yeah, it really is.
I was just talking to somebody in Texas right before this. Must be my Texas day.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Cathy, why don't you tell us about your company?
Sure. I'm actually celebrating my 7th year in business. Virtual Cathy has been in existence, and it really was born out of a need that I saw in my own local business community. But ultimately, Virtual Cathy is a US-based virtual assisting agency that helps support small business owners and nonprofit organizations and healthcare practitioners with like fractional administrative support. So all of those tasks that you might not even have a part-time person to assist with, you can still receive support, which is even 10 hours a month can be incredibly helpful for somebody who's really starting to ramp up their organization.
Yeah, very much so. It's so interesting. So this whole concept of fractional is really new to me over the last, I would say year or two, but it's really quite huge.
Yes.
As a movement in the workforce. It's amazing.
I love the idea that we're so ready to be that stepping stone. We know that for the most part, unless somebody's just really like gung-ho, like they never want to hire an employee or anything, we are there as a stepping stone to get them to a point where it makes more fiscal sense to hire somebody in-house, part-time or full-time. But there's such a large jump between needing some help and needing even like 20 hours a week help. That's a big jump. And most people, they wait so long because they feel like they have to have at least part-time, like enough to keep a part-time person busy. And it's so taxing on them to just try and scrape everything that they possibly can to throw at this person. Or they do the other way around where they hire somebody part-time, but they really don't have enough work. And so they're feeling kind of like, ooh, I'm paying this person for these hours that they're not actually using. It's such a tricky level in business. And
yeah. And what drew you to it? How did you arrive there?
I'm sorry?
How did you arrive at this? I'm going to start this this company to meet this really unique need.
Yeah, I was a business management consultant for a local firm in Vancouver, Washington, and working from startups to well-established 20-year businesses. It was always the same thing, working with these business owners, trying to get them out of the weeds, working on the business versus in the business. And again, regardless of where their level was at, it was so difficult for them. They were so inundated with admin, and I had probably ruminated on it for about a year. And it wasn't until I was at a lunch with a couple other business owners, they were complaining about their admin work, and I just blurted out, well, that's okay, because I'm going to start a VA agency and then we'll take care of your business. your tasks, your admin work. And they just all went silent, and they're like, that's a great idea, you really should. So because I opened my mouth, now I had to start this business. And here we are 7 years later. There was such a need, and was happy to be a solution to that need.
Yeah. I love what you said. That's a great phrase. They were working, I was trying to move them from working in the business to on the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really
Yep.
powerful. How many folks do you have working for you?
Currently, I have 14 virtual assistants scattered across the country, all
That's
US based.
that's great. So, we're really interested in leadership development and people building skills. How do you think um, what you're doing kind of speaks to that?
One thing that I always tell people that are interested in services, what does that look like, right? A lot of times they may never have managed people before, and
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of their first step in what it looks like to lead a team, even if it is a fractional team. And I think what's really difficult for a lot of people is that delegation is this not so subtle art, right? It's a skill set, and in order, not everybody is born with this innate sense to delegate well, and it really is dependent on the both parties as to whether or not it's going to be effective. And so many people, especially if they hire and it doesn't work well for them, they think, well, it's just not for me. I'm just not meant to have support.
Mm.
And so they get more and more overwhelmed, and they struggle and they burn out. And it is difficult. And it all started because they thought that just because they're a business owner, or just because they are in leadership, an executive director, they should have been able to delegate right off the bat, even if they've never done it before. And so it's something that I always tell everybody, especially if they're feeling like, I felt like I tried and it failed, and I don't know if working with people you know, is for me. It's like delegation is something that you have to perfect over years. It's a skill set, which, like every other kind of skill, it just takes practice. And you have to really get to know what you need and how you communicate and how you effectively work, and make sure that you pick somebody that can meet those needs, rather than so many people hiring somebody and they're trying to meet that person's needs, and it really sells them short.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, all of these things are skills, aren't they? I mean, you don't
Yes.
just innately have the skill to delegate. And I think some of us, if we might have a bit of a control freak in us, that can be
Oh,
a
yes.
really challenging
Oh,
skill to
yes.
learn, right? Because you don't want to let go, or you can let go, but you keep your finger on it, or whatever the case may be, not realizing how much freedom there is in delegation and how much
Oh,
growth is
yes.
possible with it.
I remember, gosh, I was probably a couple years into my business, and I remember getting to a point where I finally had a VA take over my email management. And I remember how terrifying that was. I was so terrified for somebody to go through my inbox. It was like naked and exposed, right? Kind of like when somebody looks at your financial reports for the first time. It's like, oh my gosh, well, personal and professional stuff go through here. What are they going to think? Whatever the case may be. And I just remember thinking, I tell people every day, oh, yeah, just so nonchalantly, like, yes, we can take care of your email for you, no problem whatsoever. And here I'm like, oh, this is what my clients feel when they finally hand over the keys to the kingdom, which is usually their email inbox. And it was something that it really put in perspective how much trust it takes for somebody to hire whoever it is to take on just even a small piece of of this their baby, which is their business or their organization. So it was it was a good learning experience for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, this has been really interesting, and I have never spoken to somebody from this field. So, really great to learn more about it and see the potential for sure. If
Mhm.
folks are interested in learning more, Cathy, how can they find you?
They can find me at my website, virtualcathy, that's with a C.com, virtualcathy.com. You don't have to put with a C in that title. I am all over social media, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, um, and YouTube. So feel free to just type in Virtual Cathy. Something will pop up, I'm sure, that will get to me. You can always reach out to me if you have any questions directly about delegation, what it might look like to delegate some admin work at hello@virtualcathy.com as well.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much, Cathy. It was great speaking with you. And thank you to our listeners. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.